Sally here, and I'm here with my new friend Marie that I met at Cocoa Fest 2022, put on by Deborah Dickinson. So I wanted to have a little chat with Marie here and find out what's going on. Tell me about your van life.
Oh my gosh, I am not full-time. I have a house in West Texas and I just go out for months at a time. So I've not slept in my house since June 1st.
Nice.
And I did 6 new states this summer and 9 national parks and monuments and a lot of state parks.
Awesome.
So, all in this very old van. His name is Rover and it stands for Really Old Van Eager to Roam.
Awesome. I love that.
So Rover and I and 2 dogs traveled all summer. So, yeah.
Now I've met Lola. Who's the other dog?
Pecos is not with us. Pecos is back at with his stepdad. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That makes sense. So tell me about why a van,
Oh gosh.
as opposed to all the other possible camping choices.
I've had every type of rig probably imaginable. I currently still own a vintage camper that doesn't move out much. And I do have a Class C, but because of the gas prices, I've just stuck to my old van this summer. So just the ease, you know, when you have a travel trailer, it makes it a lot harder to back up into places and another set of tires to worry about while you're traveling.
Yeah.
So just this van is just really easy for me. So
And what kind of van is this?
this is a 2003 Ford Econoline high top conversion. Cool. And when I bought it, it had all of the seats out except for the passenger and the driver's seat.
Awesome. Awesome.
So, yeah.
Now, what is it that got you on the road? What brought you out here?
I couldn't even really answer that. I have traveled my whole life. And when I was in high school, I had a driver's license and a job. But if I had the weekend off, my mom would even let me drive to my grandparents 4 hours away.
Wow.
And stay with them. And she also let me camp with girlfriends and stuff in high school. So I've just always been a traveler and love to see new sights. And,
cool.
Yeah.
Well, and I always enjoy meeting the new people.
Me too.
You know, that's a big part of the fun for me as well.
Yes.
And I want to ask,
Yes.
you've got some challenges.
I do have some challenges.
Are you willing to share any of what's going on with you?
That's fine. I will say the last few years have been kind of extraordinary circumstances. My dad had dementia. I moved him in with me. And during that time, I had I call them a bout of cancer and had to have a giant surgery and kind of recovered from that and brought my dad back to my house and we finished out his life. And he has gone to his great reward. And then I thought 2020, I would travel the whole year, just take the whole year off and travel. And everyone knows what happened in 2020. So traveling got a lot harder. I didn't travel much. And then early 2021, I was diagnosed with stage 3, or at that point, not stage 3, but they discovered I had thyroid cancer. And after many scans and doctor's appointments, it has grown down into my chest. And I do want to plug here. A lot of people think, here comes Lola.
I think she escaped.
I think she did. This is Lola, everybody.
Meet
Oh my
Lola.
gosh. This is Lola.
Lola
the
had a
handful.
leash. She had a leash on when she left here.
And a harness.
Yeah.
Yep. She's all crazy.
She's an escape artist.
So just to put a shout out, a lot of people think thyroid cancer is the best type of cancer to have and that it's not that big a deal. It can be a really big deal for people. So mine had grown throughout my chest cavity and into my lymph nodes. So, but I just feel in life you're not going to get positive results with a negative attitude. So we are, you know, I feel like my traveling,
We know.
I feel like traveling has just made massive improvements in my health. Like every nomad knows, being out in nature, it's calming, it's grounding, and it just really helps you clarify life and just deal with the stress.
That's really, really true. I know it's certainly been a big influence for me as well. Just the ability to be out in nature, and the stress reduction is awesome. Just all of those opportunities. Hey, you know, you've got a great setup here. Would you mind showing it to us?
Great. Let's do it.
Cool. All right. Okay, well, we talked a little bit about what your journey's about.
Yes.
And now we're going to talk a little bit about what your journey in.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
So this is Rover, seen from the exterior passenger side. and there's really not a whole lot to see on the outside, except there is an electrical outlet on the other side so you can plug in.
Yes, I had that installed. It is a 110 plug. You can just buy them on Amazon, but I also have a Class C at home, and I have a friend, Shane and Kelsey, love Hub for Life. Love you guys. Shane's done work on all of my vehicles, on my big rig and on this one, so he installed an electric plug for me so I can plug into 110 if I'm at a campsite with a pedestal.
Cool, so. Very cool. Why don't we head inside, and why don't you tell us about what's going on in there for you and how you use your van?
Okay, kind of a mess, but that's how life is.
I think that's true for all of us.
That is, I'm going to turn on my light. I hang a little light right by the door, so
nice.
At night I don't trip.
And so you've got your passenger seat turned around.
I did. I bought a swivel off of eBay, and a young neighbor of mine is a great friend, and he came and installed the swivel.
Cool.
So this is a Dometic fridge I bought from a van dweller about 5 or 6 years ago. And since we're in a site that doesn't have electric, I have to run it on...
Oh, you've got a Blue Eddy.
I have a Blue Eddy and 2 Jackeries.
How big's your Blue Eddy?
It is a 700 watt hour.
And how long will that run your fridge for?
It's been a little disappointing. It runs it for about 18 hours, and I always start my fridge. I always start with it cold when I leave on a trip, and this trip's been 6 months, so it's been plugged in for 6 months.
And it's either fridge or freezer.
Yes.
It's not dual compartment, right?
Yes, and it's a chest. It just opens right here.
Cool.
But I swap out between a Jackery 500 and this Blue Eddy.
Nice. Well, it's nice to have a fridge.
It's great to have a fridge.
And there's a great space for it right there, too. It fits really well.
Yeah, so I hung curtains. That is mostly a little bit for privacy. Mostly for temperature control.
Right. But winter or summer, right? Cold or hot?
Yes.
Helps
and
a
in
lot.
the summer, I did put a rolling residential air conditioner in this van. So my Dometic had to kind of work into a different spot.
The kind that you actually have to vent outside?
Yes, and it has a tiny little vent, and I just vented it. The air conditioner sat here. I would always pull my curtains because it gets very hot in the cab,
right.
Especially in Moab, Utah in August. And it just vents out the top of my window, and I put a screen over it.
Nice.
So no one from the outside would know we're not hanging a window unit out the windows or anything.
Right, right. Okay. And I'm going to just sit right here in your chair.
Awesome.
Oh, that's comfy.
Yes, it's very comfortable.
That's very comfortable. I love your dresser.
This is it's actually a new piece from 2 weeks ago. I had an old desk that I just had at home in here, and my dog crate slid right in the opens part of the desk. But when I got home from my summer trip, I didn't really go to my house. I went to my boyfriend's. I took my van to the mechanics, and somehow test driving it, they flipped the desk over and broke one of the legs. So we're going to have the desk repaired, but I literally just went to a junk shop half a mile from my boyfriend's house and bought this to take this trip.
Well, it's very cool looking. I like it a lot.
Thanks.
Not as practical as a desk in terms of working space,
yes.
But...
And the desk was a little bit lower, so the desk, I'm not sure how the mechanic flipped it over because it had traveled 6,000 miles with me this summer, and it was attached to the wall, but so I'm not sure how fast they were test driving.
He was practicing cornering.
Yes. For this trip, I just pulled this out of my big camper, and it's just your typical three-door plastic.
Mm-hmm. But I like the catches on that.
Yes.
The one that I had didn't have any catches, so I had to bungee it closed.
Yeah, but I still bungee all of this down before I drive. So I built my bed. Not sure how well we're going to see it.
Oh, cool.
These are shelving units from Restaurant Supply Company.
Right.
So it's 2 24-inch shelving units, a small piece of plywood, 2 24-inch wide pieces of foam from Joann with a topper on it. And I made my bed this tall specifically to put the dog crate under there if I had to.
Got it.
So I'm trying to keep the dogs safe when we travel, and they are always crated if we're moving or just...
That makes good sense.
And then I just have plastic tubs. This is my dry goods, soups. I have to eat gluten-free, so gluten-free crackers. Just different things. Just my dry goods.
Nice, nice. Well, and you can't ever do an interview on a tour without asking the question.
I do know the question.
Then I'm not even going to ask it. You can just go ahead and answer it.
I followed the guru since before YouTube's, and he asked the question in every video, so we know,
Yep.
we know who that is. My restroom is right there. It's pretty dirty. I kind of cleaned it up a little for this video. At night, it sits out on the floor.
So it's easy to get to.
Yeah, so it's just in an old ottoman,
Nice.
and it's a bucket lined with things, and we have pine pellets,
And that makes it super easy.
yes. And so for solids, I would just use the restrooms here at the campground.
Gotcha.
Yes.
And then what about taking a shower, cleaning up? How do you handle that?
Oh, I have a couple ways. A lot of times if I'm on BLM or National Forest land, I stay out 7 to 10 days. I have a KOA membership, so sometimes I go spend one night at a KOA. I do all my laundry. I dump some of my trash. I recharge my jackeries or my solar powered boxes. I take a really good hot shower, or several while I'm there. At camp, I take what's called a teapot bath.
Uh-huh.
So there's other phrases people use in life. I don't do that in front of my grandkids. So I have a nice teapot, and on the in the mornings I fill it completely up. I boil the water. I have 1 cup of coffee, and then I put the rest in a basin, put a little cooler water in there, and just come in the van and totally clean up.
Do the thing. Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, where are they? Any van dweller knows
Gotta have the wipes.
we have lots of wipes, and especially when we travel with dogs, they get dirty feet, so these are only water and I think grapefruit seed oil.
Oh, interesting.
So they're very clean. So I also wash my face with it every morning and night. That same basin that I bathe out of, I use it to brush my teeth in the evenings, and I do all of that in the van. And then I have a big bottle I pour all of my water into, and then like in a park like this, I would just take it to the restroom and flush it. It's bath water and toothpaste water, so
Yeah.
it's gray water.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. Anything else we haven't covered that you think people might be interested in?
Oh my gosh, try and not travel with as much stuff as I do. You can tell my little van's full.
I think we can all say that.
I kind of wish, some conversion vans have actual cabinets that have wood doors.
Mm-hmm.
I'm half and half. Some days I wish I would have had the cabinets with doors, but this week it's getting kind of cold. I had brought some extra blankets for Lola, the dog, and I. Here's some pajama pants. We had installed these a few months ago, so I just sometimes spices. This summer I was cooking a bunch, so I had some extra spices. I would say anybody in a van. This is my fan, Ryobi. This is my light. So my tools at home, and although I don't stay home much, everything I own is Ryobi. So I use a lot of their other gear. You can't probably have enough fans or some type of rechargeable lights when you're in a van.
And you don't actually have any ceiling ventilation, right?
No, we have lights, but this van is 2003, so back then there's a switch, and the lights come on when the door opens at night. And then when you shut the door, these lights cannot be turned on independently of each other. But it does prevent me from running my battery down.
Which is good.
Yes, because they are connected to the battery.
But no ceiling fan like a Fantastic fan or anything. So you're depending on having portable fans to be able to move air.
Yes, and
that's a really good point.
I have bought a Max Air fan for this fan, but this summer's trip was so long and the weather was so crazy, it took a lot of the paint off of my roof. So it looks pretty faded and bad right now. So I'm waiting to put the Max Air fan. I would like to get the roof repainted on this van just to make it look a little better. And Shane, my friend that does schoolie builds and van builds, I feel like I'll see him this winter in Quartzsite, and that he can just install that fan for me.
There you go.
Because that would be amazing. And we will put a dedicated, like a small battery up in the top, because it already
to handle that.
Yes. And I'll put a DC to DC charger on it, so when we're driving, it'll also, or I can start the van and charge that battery, so I can always have the Max Air fan.
Awesome. Marie, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Oh my gosh, of course, Sally. So great to meet you here at Cocoa Fest 2022.
Absolutely.
It was a blast.
A total blast. Really glad we got a chance to get to know each other a bit.
Me too.
Thank you so much.
See you down the road.